Hello everyone, Tracy here from the Wildlife Garden. A video this week is about what I've been doing in the garden. I think you look a bit wonky. Let me just straighten you. A little bit better, I think, a bit on the tilt. I haven't been tidying. It's not the time of the year to tidy. Now is the time to leave everything as much as you possibly can for shelter. No, what I've been doing is planting bulbs. It was my birthday in August and I got bulbs from my family for as gifts, and so I made a start on planting those. I've also brought crocuses to add to my lawn area. I'm trying to get as many crocuses in there as I can. Not a native plant obviously, but very important food source for the emerging bumblebees. So so I'm just showing you the methods I use in the garden to plant my bulbs. I've done some in pots and some in the lawn. I'm hoping to increase that area, as I say, as much as possible. I've also been moving plants around. My seedlings have come up. I've got so many honestly seedlings coming up this year. So under the rowan tree, I've got quite a bare patch of ground there. So I thought I would move some of the honesty seeds down to there. I've planted honesty there, nettle leaf bellflower, and what else I've put in? Wallflowers. Wallflowers are great for the very early hairy-footed flower bee. One of the first bees to emerge in my garden, and they seem to really enjoy the nectar from wallflowers. So that little patch has got quite a few flowers in there. There's also been, I put some primulas in too. So the only thing I have cut back is my lavender, my big lavender shrub. The only reason I've cut that back is because I do a bird count each week for the British Trust for Ornithology, the BTO, and that requires you doing a bird watch every week. And while the weather's nice, it's fine. I could sit in the garden and look around the lavender, or do the count from the shed. But now it's gone so cold. We've had frosts already here. I've taken that down so that I can see all the bird feeders clearly now. We're getting up to a flock of about 30 goldfinches at the moment. They're absolutely eating me out of sunflowers, out of house and home of sunflower seeds, which is fabulous to see. And greenfinches, lovely greenfinches visiting, getting 4 or 5 greenfinches regularly again now. So yeah, I need to count the birds, so I've got a clear view. We've had the woodpecker coming back as well. So all good on the bird front. Fewer insects now. Still the common carder bee visiting, and we did have a lovely, beautiful buff-tailed queen bumblebee visiting the what's left of the sweet, the everlasting sweet pea, feeding up the other day. Other than that, we're not seeing many insects. Wasps are enjoying the ivy that's now coming into flower. So yeah, but what exciting is the fungi that's coming up in the garden. We've got some lovely fungi coming up in the garden. One of them is a new one to my garden, which was in the pond on a log. And that's got a great name. I've put it up on the video. It's called the bleeding fairy helmet. Fairy helmet I can understand, because obviously the head of the fungi looks like a helmet, but bleeding, we was like, what? And the reason it gets that name is because when you do cut into it, it actually, the secretions from it are actually blood coloured. So if I can put the photograph in, I did photograph it on my hand because I wanted to confirm the identification with the iNaturalist. So I added it to iNaturalist. So yes, the bleeding fairy helmet has appeared in my pond, and there are other fungi coming up too, which I will share with you. And I've brought some plants from a company called Rosie Bee. She does a lot of research into bees and what plants, which flowers they visit most, and just a lot of research into bees. So I've supported her by buying some plants from her. I'll put the names upon the screen of what I've got. And just some ideas that of moving plants around out by the house where there's more sunlight, because I'm spotting how much shade's on the garden now. Some of the garden's probably only getting 2 hours of sunlight now, direct sunlight. So yeah, the garden's very shady now at this time of the year with the sun being low. So yeah, lots of bulb planting, and I'll put the footage in of how I put them in the lawn and in the pots, and just a little general catch-up of my autumn garden. Okay, so let's have a look at what I've been videoing. Wildlife garden. I thought I'd just share this little find on the pond edge today. If I come in, you can see what it is. There's my little frogs, the king and queen of the frogs, and at their feet is this gorgeous fungi. Right on a log that's been placed in here for the insects to land on and dragonflies to lay eggs on. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Perfect setting. It's a great time for fungi now. It's one of our beautiful things that we get to share at this time of the year. Absolutely gorgeous. Try not to drop the phone in the pond, of course. This is the bare patch under the rowan tree where I've been moving the seedlings that have come up in the garden. So I've moved some honesty and wallflowers and some of the nettle leaf bellflower too. So hopefully this won't be such a bare patch next year. I think it's the birds pecking. Then I spotted this little froglet. Just shows how important the growth is in your garden, the undergrowth, because he's there 1 second or she's there 1 second and then just disappears. So yeah, not tidying up is really helpful for these little creatures to hide, not just from us but from predators that might see them as a tasty lunch. So yeah, and I moved that geranium there, that's Roseanne, because it wasn't getting enough light in the patch where it was before. Yeah, and then over to the other fungi that are in the garden. This is the plums and custard. It's only small at the moment. It will develop, and they do. The heads of these get quite big, and that's been coming up over the last 3 years. Each year, it's an old stump there that there was an evergreen there, and there's the leading fairy caps or helmets. And just another frog in the garden. I've had so many frogs this year, but these buckets of water that I have around the garden, I think the frogs find these far more attractive than the pond. I'm always finding frogs in them, so very useful little buckets around the garden. For all it's struggling this year, clematis freckles I've just spotted. It's got lots of buds on, flowered buds, because it flowers over winter. And if we look along this stem, you can spot the little buds, and they go all the way up, everywhere. And that's amazing, really. There's a few on that branch. I'm just looking to see if I can see any more. That's at least that one's definitely flowering. Difficult to see if there's any more. Yeah, there's more on this side too, just behind my finger, but hopefully it'll, and there's new growth on it, look. So, although it's struggled, it is going to give us a few flowers, and the bees do use it if they emerge when these flowers are out. So this clematis freckles is doing okay. And now in the shed, this is peat compost mixed with horticultural sand, just to give it a bit more drainage and fluff it up a bit. And I just added the drumstick alliums to this little pot. These are some, I've not seen these ones before, these blue ones, so it'd be interesting to see how they come up, but I've always used these other drumsticks. I've got quite a few of these in pots, and the bees just can't leave them alone. I think alliums in general bees really find attractive. It's worth leaving leeks and onions to go to seed occasionally if you've got them in the garden, the allium family, because it must provide a lot of pollen and nectar for bees. Basically, yeah, just placing them on the top. I think these needed to be 10 centimetres, 4 inches below the rim. So just placing those in the pot. And, oh, just missed that one, but you can see how tiny they are. Very small bulbs. And then covering back up with the soil. I always put gravel on top of them. It's supposed to stop weeds, but it doesn't stop any wildflower seedlings popping up in my pots. But at least I know that there's bulbs in there, so it helps me to not, start digging in the pot. I don't protect these from squirrels. I will be protecting the next lot of bulbs from squirrels because fortunately squirrels don't like allium bulbs, so they tend to leave these alone. So I don't need to protect them, but the next pot, which I'm going to do, which is outside, I've taken out what was in this pot and repotted around the garden. Crocuses squirrels absolutely adore. So and I do need to protect these. The gravel won't protect them, obviously. They can just smell them out. I don't know whether they do eat irises, but they certainly eat crocus bulbs. So to protect them, I will place gravel on the top, as I did with the previous pot, but I'll give these a covering of netting to help protect them and peg it down. I find that helps to stop them digging them up. They might get through a little bit, but it's doubtful. I've always used the netting in the pots before and had no problem with the squirrels being able to dig them up. As to whether mice could get to them, I don't know, but they're on the little metal table. Mice will eat crocus bulbs too, but they're on the metal table and raised up, so hopefully they'll be safe. So yeah, that netting will stay on until the bulbs have come up. Now in the garden, I do a different method. This is the method I use to plant the bulbs. I used to try and do them singly, but it's hard work throwing the bulbs on the floor to make them look natural, and then trying to dig a hole for each bulb. It's too time consuming. So I just do this method now. I dig a little, it's almost like I'm making a pot of them really. So I dig a little trench. Not the safest shoes to be using while gardening, and peel back the tuft, the clod of grass. Take a bit more of the soil out. I mean, it's quite a big area, so they look pretty natural. They're not all squashed in. Just take a bit more soil out and then just tip the bulbs in. These are crocuses again, more crocuses, purple ones this time. Just make sure they're facing the right way up so the pointy end is up. I don't know whether that is essential, but I always do that. Then there you go, that's them sort of placed. Then to protect these from squirrels, because I'm not going to put netting in the garden because birds might get caught up in the netting, I'm going to use my other device to try and protect them, and that's by sprinkling them with paprika. I try and get the hottest paprika you can find, and or cayenne pepper, or just chili powder. Any of the hot spicy chilies will, the squirrels' tongues do get affected by spice, so this is a method I've used regularly and it seems to work. So just a generous sprinkling of this cayenne pepper. As regards the worms, sometimes if it rains and the soil gets very wet, it will bring worms to the surface, which doesn't harm the worms. They just move away from that area. Obviously, it'll eventually break down and disappear, so it's not a long-term effect. But once the bulbs are rooted in and beginning to grow and established, they don't seem to get eaten. It's only when you plant them freshly that I find that they get eaten by the squirrels, but I've got quite a lot of bulbs in this area now, and they don't get dug up. So really stamp the seam down hard, really getting that edge closed as much as you can. It soon knits back together very quickly, really stamping it down there. Here we go, that's enough. And then a final sprinkling of the cayenne pepper, chili powder, whichever you're using, just around that edge. You will need to replace that if it rains heavily. I do go and sprinkle it again for a few days until the grass is really knitted back in, and the squirrels can't smell the disturbance. It seems to be the disturbance they pick up. So that's my tip. And now it's the end of the video, and I'm just going to feed the robin while I've been working. The robin's been chucking at me for its mealworms, so just a little stroll up to feed the robin. I hope you all have a good week. It's going to be dry here again this week. We've had some good rain, and the soil is beginning to get wet again, so that's good. And the colours are changing, and I think the garden's looking pretty with all the colours that are happening now. The fuchsia's just going over. This one goes over quicker than the one by the shed, but yeah, still a bit of colour in the garden and all looking pretty. But you can hear the robin chucking at me. He does that chuck chuck kind of sound, which is an alarm call. It is actually an alarm call. He'll do that when there's danger, but he also does it when I'm in the garden to sort of attract my attention, I think. So yeah, hopefully he'll come and take some mealworms. So that's a last little look at the garden at the end of September. Can't believe it's going to be October shortly. As I say, we've already experienced 2 frosty nights, so yeah, not long before they start dying back. And here he is, taking his mealworm. These are the live mealworms, not the dried mealworms, so yeah, much better for him, because they give them water too, obviously, when they're alive. Thank you anyway for watching. Hope you all have a good week. Take care.